Welcome back to the channel. If you remember from last time, we were doing clutch stuff on a Corvette, and that's still what we're doing today. We've got a little bit of the view there. That's the back of the motor. We've basically got nothing going on yet. We're going to be replacing the hydraulics. We're going to install the flywheel today, try to get the bell housing, pressure plate, all of that kind of stuff done, and get this big scary Larry here, torque tube, back in. So, looks like this is where we're starting our day. Josh is here cleaning off the rear cradle. We don't want to put dirty shit back into the car. You take a look here and see a little bit of how this is coming out. Probably not the easiest way, or whatever, but it saves us from using a bunch of water. For all you water conservation people out there in California. And, you know, we aren't using a bunch of chemicals. Just killing a drill battery here and there and killing that wheel. We've got a couple of different attachments that we're using to kind of get into the different areas and whatnot, but slowly but surely we'll get that. And then what I'm working on is we're going to begin our assembly process by getting this guy in. If I remember correctly, I don't like trying to slide this over an already installed flywheel, so we're just going to put the little bell housing in there, and I won't be able to get all the bolts, but I'm going to get the bolts that I can get to, and we'll kind of cheat that with the torque tube later. I'll show you how that works in probably a later video, but for now I'm going to go ahead and get back under the car. Alright, so we got our bell housing and we're under the car. A couple of things I wanted to point out before I just start putting this up on here is that we have a couple of brackets that are going on here. This one is between the bell housing and the torque tube, and it kind of continues down, and it looks like it goes into this bolt that's going to here for the right side of the bell housing there. So we're going to make sure that all of those are definitely in place where they need to be. Sometimes they're tricky, and this may not be the case here, but sometimes it will be the case. There might be a ground in there that you don't know about, you know, like this one is very secure to the loom, so there's a chance that maybe one or two of these wires is connecting to it. Who knows? It does bolt to two different points, and you know that's going to hold this harness, but I mean there's a possibility that that might be a ground. If you don't cover all of your grounds when you're putting things back together that were connected before, then your electrical system will operate correctly. You'll have a few different kinds of problems that'll happen. Maybe some codes come up, maybe some things don't work, maybe the car doesn't want to start. All kinds of scary stuff that you don't want to happen when you are this torn into a car. We do have another guy that's way up here, and that one is not the example of what I was just talking about. I don't think that's, you know, connecting to anything necessarily, but in the spirit of continuity, that guy was up there and he's going to go right back onto there again. Or was he here? No, I think that guy was here actually. So we're going to go ahead and we'll fast forward in a second here to where I've got that thing in place, and we'll get some bolts into it, whatever ones we can, and then we'll move on to cleaning up the flywheel and getting that installed here too. Let's just go into play sky. Sometimes you gotta sing to it just a little bit. Like that.
That was the song I liked.
That was the song it liked. I don't know why I liked that song, but it liked that song. It was like magic. I'm gonna need magic to put these bolts back in. I'm gonna need like some spells.
Magic spells and voodoo curses.
Voodoo curses. Whew. Ordinarily I'd say no on the voodoo curses, but right now, who knows?
I'll be right back. I gotta go and grab an ice pack real quick.
Alright. I'll be right here. Trying to put bolts in places my hands can't fit. Man, I thought some of these were gonna be easy to get to. Kinda. At least one or two of them. Alright, so we're back. Got the bell housing in place. We're going to show that in a moment here. Just kind of taking a little bit of a break since we've got that thing in place to kind of prepare a few other things. For example, we've got our flywheel and we're running into our first setback of the day. First, I tried cleaning this thing off with the blue towel. And the blue towel kind of left a little bit of blue residue on there when I was wiping it with the brake cleaner. And then I was like, well, let me try one of our microfiber towels, and as you can see, it left residue from the microfiber towel on there too. We're just going to let it dry and kind of get that off of there, all those little fibers, a million little fibers. Shout out South Park. And we'll probably spray that again once I get it stuck up into the car, just to be sure. But for now, that's probably going to be cool. I just wanted to break that initial oil layer that was on there. It's pretty damn heavy, so I want to make sure that that was right the first time. Josh was over here working pretty hard, and we could see it's starting to look pretty nice. Not bad for a 97. There's even like some mirror finish going on there on part of it. So that's starting to come around, a little bit. We've still got this here where we were checking the coupling, and we're going to have to join this back together, but we're not marrying that back together just yet. Back to the topic at point. We've got our flywheel and our pressure plate bolts. Oh, that's not a good focus. Here's our flywheel and pressure plate bolts, and they're kind of soaking. So I'm going to go ahead and clean those guys up, and when I pick back up, we will be under the car and installing the flywheel. Alright, so we're underneath the car. As you can see, I've got the flywheel in place here. One important thing to note is we do have a hole that's in here that's not a threaded, or hole through to a threaded place in the crank there. We made sure we lined that up on the flywheel for balancing purposes, of course. We can see there's some balancing holes kind of drilled in here already. And what we've been doing is I've been getting all of these fasteners in place, and we're using some Loctite on these guys. I can tell you that when I pulled them out, as you can kind of see, I'm sure, there's not Loctite on these when we pulled them out. So just a precautionary measure, we're going to go ahead and very messily, hopefully not too messy, pour a little bit of this on here. Oh yeah, that did not go the way we wanted it to at all. So I just kind of want that in those threads a little bit. So make sure that that thing's got a nice little coating on it. And it's going to kind of glue into place. We're going to go ahead and screw that right on into here. Alright. So I'm getting them all kind of finger tight. And I got pliers for hands because, you know, mechanics' hands. So we're going to go ahead and, looks like I can get a couple of turns out of that. I'm going to stagger. Let's go a little further. Alright. We've got with us a very nice torque wrench. Get out our digital torque wrench here. We are using a Quinn. And it's a digital unit. I'm going to pause the video for a moment. We're going to get a couple of torque specs. There may be multiple passes that are going on here, but next scene we're going to be torquing down some flywheel bolts. Alright guys, since we've got our flywheel in place and all those bolts are there, we've got a nice list of all of our torque specs for the C5. Kind of like to keep those on file. And we've got some stuff highlighted here. And it looks like we've got some torque specs for the flywheel bolts, and there's a first pass, a second pass, and a final pass. And we've got, of course, Newton meters and then foot-pounds. So it looks like our first pass needs to be 15 foot-pounds. So I'm going to go ahead and set our handy-dandy digital torque wrench to 15 foot-pounds. That was a little too far. Whoa. It's my first time using this thing. Those numbers like to go. Alright, so that's where we're at. I'm going to go ahead and get underneath the car and set up the camera again, and we'll start torquing. Cool. Alright. Oh, you know what? This thing needs to calibrate. I always forget. Alright, so we should be calibrated. And we are set to 15. And we're on Titan. Let's see what happens. I'm not sure if we'll have to hold the flywheel in place yet or not. We're gonna take it as we go here. I think the first pass isn't really enough torque to do that, but we're gonna find out. Oh my. We're not just going to keep tightening all of it on that one. We're going to go and hit this one over here too. Let's get a 15 pinder on her. Then our number 6. So some of these were kind of a soft setting, and it doesn't really matter on that first pass. We don't have to be perfect. Josh, what's our second pass supposed to be at?
37.
37.
37 foot-pounds torque.
37 even. Alright, let's start with the first one again. Very top. We'll get some clickety clicks. Okay, I think it's going to probably try to spin this flywheel on me. So let's hopefully not block the entire view here. How am I going to do this? Alright. Get a bite on number 4 again here and see what we can get. Oh yeah, that's definitely at least 37 foot-pounds. Come on. Tricky one-handed business. Here goes our 75 foot-pound torque pass.
74?
75? 74.
74.
Number 5. Number 6. Yeah!
Alright.
We've got a torqued flywheel.
Alright.
I just got to clean that off real nice.
Fuzzy shit on there.
Fuzzies that decided to come off of the rag. Don't want none of that in there. And we'll start getting the pressure plate up there.
Okay. Did we check these in already?
Yes.
We did.
These are special, guys, because you have to, when you're doing that back plate, you get your alignment and all those other guys are loose.
Right.
And these
Now
guys have to be
let's go all the
tightened
way up
down
in.
to center the plate or to position the plate, and then you can zip the other ones. So these guys were one of the first ones to go in.
This looks loose for some reason right here.
That's the shadow.
Yeah, that's exactly
We'll check the torque on those too. We have inch-pounds now, so we can
it. Yep. Sure, let me check that.
probably mount this stuff up here too. Some nice clean bolts. Hopefully that shows up on the camera. Alright, so we've got our friend the flywheel. We're not going to be seeing very much of the flywheel in a moment. We're going to go ahead and get our friction disc up here. There we go. Sometimes they could stay up there and sometimes they don't. Alright, go ahead and got that. Let's bring that pressure plate over here. Just to this area here. Thank you, sir. Alright, so you're gonna have to reach around to this side. And yeah, I'm gonna have to get the up in here action going on. We're probably gonna have to kinda finagle just a little bit. Let's see here. I'm gonna pin right next to threaded hole. Just like that. This is how I believe this goes up here. Alright, we're gonna have to... Here, let's pull
This out?
Yeah. I don't know if you're going to be able to hold that friction disc.
Not the greatest. But if we can get them both up there, then we might be able to get this through. I just don't know if I can hold it when it's up there. Oh, let me get those fingers out. Flip this screw down.
That's okay. Okay, so I believe we might get close here.
Pressure on that?
Let me see. Alright, let's see if we can catch a dowel pin here. Do you see the dowel pin under here?
Yeah, this way.
Yeah. Just like that. I'm trying to reposition myself a little here. I think we got it. There we go. Now we got it. Alright. Last check. This is number 1. That's our marked one. Oh yeah, we're good.
Alright.
We're there. Right on. Alright.
Yeah.